This is the latest update on immigration news. I have two pieces of news to share with you. Now, the first one is about the deportation of 600 migrants, and this was published on the 1st of December 2024. And the second one is the PM speech, yes, on net migration. There has been a latest release on the net migration. That's an update by the ONS. You know, it is called the Office of National Statistics, and the Prime Minister has made some declaration on things he's going to do about migration moving forward. I felt it's so important that I bring this news to you so that you can know what is happening in the UK and you are updated. As a migrant, it's so important for you to know what is happening in the UK. If you want to find out what this news is all about, please watch this video to the end. Hello everybody, my name is Cynthia. I share information that will help your transition abroad to be as smooth as possible. I share information about settling, working or studying in the UK. And if you're interested in any of these, then subscribe to this channel. Turn on your notification bell so that each time I drop a new video, you know it's time to watch Cynthia Academy. And without wasting time, let's get into this video. Now, this first news was published by The Guardian. The headline says more than 600 Brazilians deported by Home Office on 3 secret flights. Now, there is something shocking about this news is that these people were deported, including children. They said the children were 109, and the flight took place on the 9th of August. They said they had 205 people, including 43 children, were removed. On 23rd of August, they had 206 people were removed, including 30 children. And on the 27th of September, there were 218 people removed, including 36 children. And they said that all the deported children were part of family units, and many of them would have been settled at school and are likely to have spent most of, that's if not all of their lives in the UK. So some of them were actually born in the UK and they were still deported. Now, the shocking thing I wanted to share about this is that they said they gave them £3,000. Now, that £3,000 was preloaded on a card at which you have to arrive in the country of destination, which was Brazil, before it is activated. And that £3,000 was also given to the children and the babies. So it's not like if they give the mother and they wouldn't give the father, or they won't give the child. And they are saying that it was voluntary return. So the people were not forced out of the UK. They voluntarily wanted to return. I know that the first person that was deported that time to Rwanda, it was a voluntary return and it was £3,000 that was issued, but I've not heard of them giving incentives so far. Now, the second piece of news I have for you is about the Prime Minister's speech. Now, this speech is centered on immigration. We know that the ONS, that is the Office of National Statistics, has released the figure of the number of people who are in the UK as migrants. I'm talking about the net migration. Net migration is when you subtract the number of people who have left the UK from the number of people who have come in. Now, in previous years till 2019, it was around 250 thereabouts, but the new figure that has just been released now states that the figure that was released in May was wrong. You know, that time they said it was 745,000 thereabouts. That was the net migration, and they were screaming that it was very, very high. Now, that 745,000 was in 1 year till June 2023. They calculate it every 12 months. The new figure that has been released after this recalculation says that that 745 is wrong. That is actually 903,000. This 903,000 is almost a million. And right now, the Prime Minister is saying that the number is too high and they're going to do everything in their power to reassess the situation and bring in new policies. Guys, on YouTube, I always tell you that, see, these policies don't suddenly spring up, you know. They have to do their analysis, they have to do their research and agree upon what method will be more effective than others. Something triggers this thing is based on research. But they actually said that since June 2023 till June 2024, the number is now 728,000 people that's approximately that number now, which is a drop of 20%. So there has been less people who have come into the UK. We already know the reason why this is so is because the previous government introduced some immigration policies that reduced the number of people who could come into the UK. There are things like carers cannot bring their dependents, students should not bring their dependents into the UK. I'm talking about master's students, that's masters of sciences. But if you are pursuing a master of research, which is a 2-year program, you can bring your dependent. And if you are pursuing a PhD, you can bring your dependent. Now, reading this particular speech by the Prime Minister, which was released on today, 28th of November 2024, you can see that the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, is talking about how they feel that the migration is quite high and what they're going to do about it. Now, they're saying it's too high because in 2019 it was like 250, 260 thereabout, but right now it has multiplied by 4. And so he's saying that he's going to take more measures to reduce it. Now let me use his exact words so that you can understand the situation at hand. It says that, well, and mark my words, this government will turn the page. That begins in the economy, because you cannot separate this failure from their refusal to do the hard yards on skills, on welfare reform, on giving your young people opportunities. So he's obviously stating that some people are not willing to do the hard yards of skills, like to get those skills that we desire. On talking about welfare reform, they have to reform the welfare system in the UK. And he's saying on giving our young people opportunities rather than the easy answer of looking for overseas workers. They know that the reason why many people who have come into the UK, who are EU nationals and non-EU nationals, come in based on work to fill in a gap or shortage in skilled workers. Because clearly the vast majority of people who entered this country did so to plug gaps in our workforce. Skills shortages across the country, which has left our country hopelessly reliant on immigration. So he obviously acknowledges that the reason why there are a lot of people coming into the UK is to fill in these shortages in employment. He's also saying that 2.8 million out of work on long-term sickness, a problem ignored, left to fester. 1 in 8 young people not in employment or education or training. So he's stating the problems right here now. And he's saying that sectors of our economy, like engineering, where apprenticeships have almost halved in the last decade, while visas have doubled. Now, this is a serious issue right now. That's what he's stating, that yes, apprenticeship programs that would have helped to fill in the gaps in engineering sector has halved, that has reduced, while visas keep doubling, and they keep bringing people who are already skilled to fill in these positions. So we are taking a different approach. We will publish a white paper imminently which sets out a plan to reduce immigration, and the Migration Advisory Committee is already conducting a review, and where we find clear evidence of sectors that are over reliant on immigration, we will reform the point-based system. Guys, what they're trying to say is that just expect some reforms in the immigration policies we already have. We already have some changes that happened earlier this year, but expect more in 2025. That's what he's saying. He's also saying that, and make sure that applications for relevant visa routes, where it's the skilled worker route or the shortage occupation list, will now come with new expectations on training people here in our country. We will also crack down on any abuse of the visa routes. For far too long, we have been casual about malpractices in our labor market, which sends a clear signal overseas that we are soft touch. Well, no more. Our rules will be enforced. Our employers who refuse to play ball, they will be banned from hiring overseas laborers. So he's just saying that they're going to change some of the rules, and if there's any particular signs or evidence of abuse in that sector, such people would not be allowed to recruit staff from overseas or recruit laborers from overseas. And I'm pleased to announce today that a new security agreement between Iraq and the UK, this is a world first, that will help us smash the people smuggling gangs and secure our borders. So they have signed a new deal with Iraq, and they are going to try to smash any illegal migration. People use the boats through the borders to come into the UK, and they're going to smash that by signing that agreement with Iraq. So this thing was just the Home Office talking about how they are going to manage this. Specifically, the Prime Minister, he's talking about how they're not comfortable with the high numbers of people in the UK. Net migration is quite high, and they're going to tackle it. Also, I shared with you that the Tories party, that's the Conservative Party leader, I'm talking about Kemi Badenoch, also talked about immigration. She made a video about it. It's on Instagram, it's on Twitter, it's everywhere. I've shared that video on my TikTok. If you are not following me, follow me on TikTok so you can see what I share from time to time if I want to make short videos, so you can be updated on what is happening. So what I'm saying is that expect new changes in policies. This is just what happens. Policies don't just change overnight. Something triggers it, and when they've done their research and they've analyzed it, they now come up with new policies. They will talk about these things in the House of Parliament, and I always bring it to you, the options that they talk about, the corridors of power. Things happen there. Now, whenever it happens, I would let you know what is happening so that you will prepare ahead of time before the real deal comes and they now approve a particular policy and it comes into power. It's always good to be abreast with what is happening. I felt I should share these two pieces of news with you so that you can be updated. I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.